and I just want to take 1 minute and explain what those rights are and why you have them. They're actually codified in our U.S. Constitution. You have a right to a civil trial if someone causes you harm. And so that's what we do by representing people who have been harmed through no fault of their own by the bad acts of others. And in this case, it's Southern California Edison. We will have the burden to prove that their equipment started the fire. In California, we have really, really good laws. We can hold the utility accountable based on what's called a strict liability standard. We don't even need to prove negligence. Now we will, but all we have to do is prove that Edison's equipment started the Eaton Fire. All the property damage that stems from that, they are responsible for. So what I guess I want to impart to you all, if you've been impacted by the fire, if you lost your home or a rental, or you're a business owner, or you're an occupant of a home that lost property, you will have that right to hold them accountable.
So the process after you retain a law firm is going to be a consolidation of all of the claims. So there are thousands and thousands of people that are going to be impacted and are going to bring suit against Edison. And as your attorneys, all of the firms that are representing plaintiffs in this case, we need to work together. It is a group effort. It is a coordinated effort to establish liability. We really do make a good team. A lot of the folks that do this have worked together in prior fires. So I've worked with all these people before. And it's our job to put together the evidence of liability that was just spoken about. The other thing that's going to happen for you as a wildfire survivor is taking a really close look at your damages. And your law firm will help you figure out what are those damages. We use experts a lot of the time to assess things like damage to your trees, your vegetation, all your structural damage, your personal property losses, and we'll be putting together your case, and that's really going to be focused on how your particular household and family has been harmed by the fire. There are lots of law firms out there, so I do encourage you to do your homework. Pick a law firm that has experience in wildfire work. It's a niche practice of law, and it's fairly new. This wasn't really a thing 25 years ago. So yeah, you should choose a lawyer. Most attorneys should be doing this on a contingency fee basis, which means that you don't have to pay. Do not have to pay anything out of pocket to retain them, or you don't have to pay their hourly bills. You would retain them as counsel, and they would take your case through the litigation, and you only owe them fees if at the end of the day they are successful. And I do have a high degree of confidence in this case. I think it's a very, very strong case.
You should interview as many lawyers as you can and determine not just that they're going to be there for you, but that they are going to work together as part of the team. We really are all on the same team trying to hold Edison accountable. So make sure that you connect with somebody that you trust, that's going to give your individual circumstances the time and attention that they need, and someone that you can reach, where you don't just reach necessarily a paralegal every time you call, but you talk to a lawyer, you have access to them, face-to-face access if you want it. They'll come to your house, they'll help walk you through every step of the way. But the most important thing is that you do get representation of some sort.
Does that depend on your amount of loss, or amount of damage to each person, or is it equal?
John, the liability is common to everyone, so our job is just to prove Edison did it. Now, as it relates to each of your cases, what will happen is the law firms will work them up individually. So you're not a class action. I don't want anyone to think that you get a $25 coupon. No. This is a real case where you have real damages. We're all going to help figure out what your uninsured losses are, what your emotional distress is. I think that gets sort of lost here, is that this is a traumatic experience. I don't have to tell you all that. That has real value, and that's something that historically Edison has compensated people for.
The civil litigation system is not designed necessarily to be fast, but it does get justice at the end of the day. It usually gets it right. So the litigation will take some time. There are some people here from the SBA. Can you guys just raise your hand? It's really important that you try to figure out how you put together the money, the resources you have to try to rebuild. The SBA has an incredible program to do that. You should go see them. The deadline is March 10th to apply for that. So I would encourage you all to seek out that type of help as you engage in the litigation process.
I think a reasonable estimate for resolution of this case could be somewhere between the 2 and 3 year mark. That is based on a lot of past fires that, I've done at my firm. I think that a lot of times when a case gets resolved is ultimately tied to the trial date. So from a plaintiff's perspective, a big part of our strategy is to get the earliest possible trial date we can, and then to be very efficient and surgical about the way we organize the case and move forward through discovery. What we don't want to do is give Edison's lawyers any excuse to tell the judge, you need to push the trial date out another year. Because those are the cases that we see that end up taking 4 or 5 years to resolve. If we can hold tight to the initial trial date and prepare and be ready to go, then a lot of times that is the leverage that we need to make Edison decide to resolve these cases.
It's critically important for you to try to get the most amount of money, your caps on what the benefits are from your insurance company, because every dollar you get from your insurance company, you don't have to pay your lawyer part of that contingency fee, right? Because we sue for uninsured loss, things that are not covered by insurance. So that dollar you get from them, don't let them tell you, oh, take 80% of my personal property cap, make the inventory list that we're talking about here so that you can get to 100% of your coverage of personal property. Thereafter, you want to keep creating the list because the value of that above your insured
So what is that exactly? That's emotional at that point?
Well, there'd be, emotional distress is not covered by insurance, right? So that's something your lawyers will seek. In your personal property, it's like if you took your roof off your house and turned it upside down and you shook it, everything that comes out is your personal property, right? That's what may be covered, but you want to make sure you get 100% of that coverage, and then everything above that you have to replace and the value of is what we sue for. In addition to your real property loss, your structures, right? Your landscaping and all that kind of stuff. Business loss is something different. Yes, if you lose personal income because your place of employment was burned down, you want to tell us that. You want to keep track of how much income you lost. If the business you owned burned down, you're going to give us your previous tax returns. We're going to compare that to what it was in the years after that, and then we'll sue for that loss.